get slightly more forward hat. Yeah. So,
right,
hey, everyone, welcome to the Tuesday, September 13th facilities meeting. First one of the school year. Frank, I do not have an agenda in front of me, so I'll kick it over to you. Do you have printed ones there? No,
I only have one for me.
That's fine.
I will put it up
You-
here for everybody to see.
Awesome.
Tiny. Right, so the first thing is facility request forms. I figured that would be the easiest one for us to go through first and to kind of go through them. So
Judging by Jim's face, is the most fun. Was that the?
Oh, there's 5 of them. Did you
there's
see
5,
them?
yeah.
How did they all find us so quickly?
Well, they've been
waiting for 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
they've been contacting us constantly.
2 years of anticipation.
So Jim, what's your concerns on these?
I don't really have any concerns. I just want to make sure we're still going ahead full bore. If we have the space available and we have the ability, that we're going ahead. So
There's no restrictions?
I guess as far as COVID, I didn't have any.
No, but do we need
What
to
about-
update our cost structures?
I know.
think it's been so long, right, since
Do we
we've
have
rented. I'm assuming
custodians?
some of these are for the pack, or are they all for the pack?
They're all
They're all for the
pack.
pack. Yeah. Like
and they're multiple days as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they go to like 11 p.m.
we've had at least a year of like 10% inflation. Is it more expensive for us to provide it to them? I mean, I'm assuming that they pay for the cleaning and labor separate, right?
Yeah.
As a separate line item, but
Jim
still.
would work out their bills for them.
Yeah.
And they would pay for the pack manager, if we can get the pack manager.
Yeah.
They would
It's a
pay.
lot of hours for a pack
It is
manager.
a lot of money. Yeah, we'd also have students too,
Oh,
but it's a lot of hours. So these are a lot of, so that's the question is,
seems like a lot to ask one person.
and that is, I think, the question we have to ask as a district is, are we going to limit this or are we
Right.
going,
And the
Or do we
custodian,
start
we don't
saying-
even have enough custodians, do we?
well, it'd be overtime that they pay for.
Oh.
And they'd have to pay the overtime if they want to do it, but not
If
everybody wants to do overtime either.
Right. Some people have families.
And we know for sure already, obviously, there's no potential school events, all that stuff's already,
There's
No,
no
right?
conflict on the calendar.
no potential
as of
conflicts
this
with anything we would want.
Right.
Well,
Right.
when is the elementary school play? I thought that was like near Mother's Day.
It's March 31st.
Do they do that down at the elementary school though? Or no, the 5th grade play they do up here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I
It's
There's a
right
third
after,
5th grade play.
oh, the 5th grade play is right
in the spring.
after
It's usually
the
in
high school
May.
one.
It's like May.
Yeah, so whatever the May one, the high school is, it's 2 weeks after.
So there may be some conflicts.
Yeah,
I
there's-
didn't
Yeah, so
see
this one's
anything
definitely gonna
on
be a
the
conflict.
schedule.
Yeah, is there conflict with rehearsal space for it or for?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this one, the world-class gymnastics,
That was the first weekend in May, and then Empire Dance was the weekend
This
after
one?
that.
Next weekend.
this is right during,
Yeah.
well,
During-
no one's approved these yet. I think this is more for, so it hasn't gone through the
Yeah,
room verification, building principal, athletic director, assistant superintendent. None of these have been done.
That's why we wanted
Yeah.
to bring it to you first.
Right,
Yeah,
so,
For
okay.
any of those
No.
issues.
So you-
Fine, just follow the
you make
process.
sure no one was using the pack.
yeah, we'd go through all of that. I think the bigger question is, are we still going to honor these large-scale items? Is this something that the district and their policy wants to still do?
Do we make money? I mean, these are they're not like,
Make money, probably not, but we don't lose money.
So,
but it's not like it's a local, like,
We're-
Scotland soccer. These
No.
are outside.
well,
No,
we're
these are
supposed to be doing
class-
2 different rates, right? We
This
have
is-
we have a rate for community
Yep.
organizations that are present in our community. So if like New Scotland Soccer wanted to use this for an award ceremony, it would be a different rate than World Class Gymnastics, which is in like Clifton Park and
Correct.
Latham. Right,
Right.
so that should be a different rate structure.
Sure about
I would,
break even.
no, I know, I agree with you. I thought maybe we would break even on the local community and then we should probably make a profit on the outside use.
You're barely breaking even on the locals, right?
Right.
Because some of that stuff, they're using it for free depending on who they are. So they're just paying for our custodian or pack manager, so we're not doing a gift of public
Right.
funds. But
The
besides
only
that-
dance event we had last year was a 1-day event, and it was about a little over $3,000 that we were paid for that, including everything.
And what was our total cost, you know?
The total cost would have been the laborers, the maintenance people.
Yeah,
So,
custodial maintenance on it.
I mean, so our actual direct cost, probably somewhere around $500-600.
So we do make at least a little bit of money.
Yeah.
There.
But they are using lights, they're using.
Yeah, there's some incremental,
Okay.
yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not a ton of money
To make or to not make?
to make. we're not making a lot of money off of these things. It's not like it's gonna be able to fund a program.
No,
Yeah.
but we don't have the ability to earmark these funds. It all goes to general fund,
General
right?
fund.
So we don't have the ability to say like money that we made for the PAC can go to improving stuff in the PAC that might need those improvements.
Right.
I mean, I guess we could look at it that way when we spend money and say we've made X number of dollars and the PAC needs this. So, but it all goes to the same pool.
I think one of my concerns, I guess, would be our own staff and their
Yeah.
desires. And I mean, we don't want to overwork
Well, we
people.
Do
actually.
they like overtime?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No,
Like, I
most
don't
of
know what,
them are on the fence on the overtime
Mhm.
issue. And I'll get into the one subject, we ran the ad again for custodians in the paper and in the TU. The first time we had some success with it. This time I have 6 people that were calling for interviews either Friday or maybe next early next
okay.
week.
Oh, so we
So I
have.
have about a dozen candidates
Hmm.
and 6 of them that have replied back.
Mhm.
And my assistant, is taking care of that now. So TJ's scheduling that. So we have the potential to actually start filling a bunch of our vacancies. With some of them that we started looking at, we're like,
So-
20 years of service. I mean, we have some people that, and what that'll do is it'll free up, because I have 3 part-timers right now. Actually, technically I have 4. So I have 4 substitute or part-time people right now. That'll make them more available if they still want the money and still want to work. They can work an event like this.
So theoretically, by the time these pop up, we shouldn't have staffing issues that would
Right.
negatively impact our
Right,
staff. to the
right.
point
We
that-
should be able to handle it
Right.
without a
Well,
problem.
what about the PAC manager too?
Well, that's another thing.
Yeah, that's another question.
It's a lot, right?
That's a lot.
We
Did you
do
see
have,
these hours?
we do have students who are interested in making hours
Okay.
and being trained, so we would
No
hire
one has
students.
to be there with them?
Well,
And
that's
that's-
our concern. That's what we have to talk about because myself, Chris Jansen, and Leon, because Chris and I have a feeling that, we still need a supervisor. I don't want a kid having full responsibility.
Oh, yeah, letting them, yeah. But the PAC manager, I know it's a role for a super, but is that in this case more a duty than a role where it could be filled by one of several individuals? Or
We
it's,
only have one PAC.
Yeah.
right, but I mean, if we, when we look at these types of events and we look at, is that, you just mentioned
I
students.
gotta be
so
honest,
you
with you, we don't
mentioned-
have people who want to do
No, okay.
it. We don't have adults who want to go there and do it.
Yeah.
Like this one on,
Saturday.
You don't want to go show up on,
Yeah, no, they don't want to do it.
this one on April 1st and April 2nd, it's from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., 2 days in a row.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, if you
What
look
is
at
that?
these hours, like,
Yeah,
If
there's,
I was
5
a PAC
a.m.
manager-
these
to
are
11,
full
so,
days.
so you need that person on site from,
they can't work that many
you can't
hours.
have
Yeah,
that.
Well,
I was gonna say,
I think
that's
the
not
question is
possible.
going to be is,
You have to put that across multiple.
so here's the number one question to the board is, how welcoming do you want us to be to these priority 4 groups?
I don't want to be unwelcoming to our people,
So,
our staff, right?
so with a reasonable advance notice, I mean, the priority 4 groups, this may schedule after August 15th. With given priority structure, time shall be allocated for pool outside the days. It's for a single event, not multiple days.
Uh,
And that has time in it too, Frank. Did you catch that?
yeah.
There's
As
a
what?
time frame. And the time frame isn't 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah, it did have, yeah, that's our
So,
policy.
yeah.
Well, that's the pool.
Oh, that's the pool.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Are there hours on the PAC?
There are general hours, I believe, further on for when the buildings are generally open.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, yeah. I'm doing that on my policy. Hold on today.
I think it was the procedure that has those hours.
Underneath it, okay.
Anyway, I was just wondering if there was a creative, bless you, a creative way to staff that where, you know what I mean? That's why I said role versus duty,
Yeah.
but if there was a,
We've looked,
Flexible.
we can look at that and we've had conversations, but I gotta be honest with you, when it comes to PAC stuff, it's a hard sell.
yeah. Do we have a job description written up for that somewhere?
For the PAC,
For the PAC manager?
yeah, it's our PAC manager. They do our work. So this is after school stuff, right? So they
Yes,
can,
they're already working.
yeah.
Right, but I mean, so the duties that needs to, it's just the same thing and it's
Yeah,
the,
so it's duties for like the play, making sure that our school events are getting done, those types of things. After school, like outside events,
right, so
Yeah.
like what does the PAC manager need to do for that long dance event?
Yeah. Basically
what I'm
be there
asking.
in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Well,
just
no, they
unlock
want,
the
so
door, lock
what the
door.
district has done in the past, and then I'm going by past precedent, is they have not allowed people to use our whiteboards or soundboards without somebody, one of our
Right.
technicians there.
Mhm.
So that's what the district has done, because, you know, our stuff.
So is that really primarily light and sound? Is that
Yeah,
what we're
that's-
looking
that's
to
our sound.
provide?
Yep. Light and sound is that. But we need a trained official there. I have 2 trained officials, Chris Jansen and our current pack manager, Leon,
Mhm.
right? The kids are there, but if something goes wrong, I don't want a kid
No,
to
they-
transfer for a mistake. They're feeling those pressures. So that's why, you know, doing these longer events, I won't do an approval unless we don't have staff.
Mhm.
So then we don't do these. I just want to make sure that the board is comfortable in the fact that there might be limiting factors of why we're not allowing these to happen. I don't feel the revenue source is worth it.
No.
Yeah, no,
I mean, if it's a local group, I see us trying a lot harder.
Yeah,
So
Personally, I
don't,
don't
yeah,
know what
don't
you-
torture yourself or others, I guess, at the end of the day. If you think you can do it, go for it.
okay,
I mean,
If people
trust
want
you to
the
make that
hours, yeah,
call.
I mean.
I was just wondering if there was a creative way to do it and make a little extra cash, but if there's not.
But
that's-
we also have to be very careful.
Mhm.
I'm looking at this a little as an all or nothing kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I see what you mean.
If you have a 2-day event and someone else gets a 2-day event and you don't,
Right.
Not because there's a conflict, but just because we can't do it, hours, I think that would create issues. Let's just say
It
that.
could, yeah.
no, you're totally right, Jim. I think some of these groups, I don't know history, right, because I haven't been here. Have any of these groups had yearly events here prior?
Who's up there?
I'm trying to get there.
It's a Tina Marie's dance, world class, Empire dance, breakout dance, and then that's entertainment / spark or something like
I
that.
want to say that Tina Marie's,
I
I
feel like
recognize the
Tina-
same, but the other ones, no.
I don't know.
I haven't heard any of the other names come up in discussions of things like this. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I can look back to see what revenues we've received and things like that. So
Yeah, can you look and see if we have any like past allegiance to any of these groups already? I think that will be something that, you know, if we've accommodated them in the past and they've, you know, they've maybe used us for 5 years straight. Let's say Tina Marie Dance has always used us because it's the
Mhm.
only facility they have. And I think they aren't they local?
I don't know.
Can't
No
remember.
idea.
Does
I
it
just I just
say?
recognize the name.
yeah.
On that
I
one,
think they. Women Avenue, Albany, no.
No.
I mean, some of these, maybe we have local kids.
It's like
Yeah,
that one's 3
That would be a
shows.
part
What are
of
the
it.
hours? 5 to 9, 2 to, what's the 2 to 4:30? Oh, it's Saturday.
Yeah,
and 5:45 to 9.
their hours are a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, those look like reasonable hours for an event. That was really 5 a.m. to 11
5
p.m.
a.m.
for
to
the
11 p.m.
2 days in a row. I mean, that's crazy
For April
town.
1st and
Yeah,
2nd.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to find a place that'll.
Yeah,
Saturday and
that's a
Sunday.
reasonable
This
basis
is 3
to
days.
say, sorry,
It's 7
yes,
a.m.
our
to-
facility can't be taken up for that.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
breakout dance is Saturday and Sunday from 6:30 a.m. to 11 p.m.
you
And
should.
Also-
Friday
also
from
ridiculous.
2:30
Yeah.
to 11 p.m.
Yes. So-
Not possible.
Okay.
Maybe we say, I don't.
So you don't have to make those decisions. We'll make those decisions.
Yeah.
And Jim and I will look at those later on and we'll make the decisions of where we can go and can't go. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page that there will be limiting factors. We can't accommodate everybody.
Right.
And you are all.
No,
kind
do
of
what you can do.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just want to make sure that, you know, the board's like, no, we have to accommodate every request, then we would do our best to request it. But if you are fine with us accommodating when we can,
Yeah,
I'm fine with.
And
that.
certainly I wouldn't want to accommodate at the expense of one of our own groups, like our.
yeah,
Oh, I would cancel, I mean, they would
Right.
know flat out if somebody
Mhm.
says they wanted to use it in June and they're already scheduled and we know that a month in advance, I'm canceling that. Our kids always take precedent. So that's a no-brainer.
Okay.
So, good?
Yeah.
Anything else on the facilities use? So you and I will go over these tomorrow. and
Yes.
We'll track them down after that. All right, so facilities overview. Bill,
Okay.
why don't you start with, instead of doing the review of athletics and facilities and grounds, why don't we talk about our ongoing projects first, like tennis courts, that kind of stuff? Yeah, the
So,
fun.
yeah, and we've had some changes this week.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the tennis courts were also scheduled for the beginning or the middle of September. And they're moving up to this week they want to start. which is pretty close to the middle of September.
It is beginning, that is
Yeah,
September.
yeah. But previously, a couple weeks ago, in verbal conversations, it was going to be later.
Oh,
So last week I heard it was going to be towards the end of next week.
Mhm.
Now it's this week they want to start. Which in one way is a good thing because it is temperature sensitive when they do the work.
Mhm.
So the sooner that we get the blacktop out, the new blacktop in, and the coating, which is
Yep.
not the same coating that goes on the track, but it is temperature
Mhm.
sensitive with a 50 or 55 degree. Don't quote me on what the temp is.
Mhm.
That's the minimum overnight temp that you can reach.
Right.
So we're probably going to be figuring out how we're going to mitigate traffic issues and let them do what they have to do.
Bill and I reading this week, and
Right. Because
So-
this conversation happened today, the other part of it where, oh yeah, we're going to come there and start doing surveying work. I'm like, okay. And open the fence, you can still play on it.
so do we need a building permit?
Good question. It's outside though. I don't know.
Can you confirm that before any work starts working here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be on the vendor to pull that permit?
It would be, but I want to make sure that we're,
I
confirm
know
with the
they
vendor.
did Dig Safe New York. That was one of the
Yeah.
things they were waiting on.
let's just confirm everything.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row.
Yeah. Okay.
So
B
then
list.
that's happening this week.
That's happening
Track
this
is
week.
happening.
Next week. That's the goal. What they want to do is come and pressure wash the track. So I'm working with Joe
Pressure wash the track and then not
Yes.
start until October 3rd.
and not start until after homecoming. So that was one of the other ones, right? Because again, it's temperature sensitive. Can they get in there, do the pressure washing and get this done within 2 weeks and have it usable?
Mhm.
No, he told us, no, we can't do it. So he can get in and pressure wash it. Sent an email back to Joe. I'm asking him to work with his gym teachers and hopefully also as well with the cafeteria aides to try and keep them
Well, it's a
off
little
of
bit
it.
more than that. We also need to notify our community that, our track is not going to be able to be
Yeah.
used. We have to put our caution tape for anyone else's on.
How long
So
is that gonna take?
So the pressure washing would be on the 19th, they would start. That would take a few days. And then the actual resurfacing of the track would be after homecoming.
Right,
So no
but it can be used in between those, or no?
Yes.
No,
No.
the idea is
Once
Keep
they
them off the
pressure
track
wash
after
it.
they pressure
What do you
wash.
think
Right,
about
because it's
football?
clean.
I-
Football is okay. They will cross the track
Okay.
for
Oh.
football. And when
You
I
just
got
can't
back,
run on it and do.
right. So I went back and forth and I have an email from the
like, oh.
vendor. Yeah, oh, I
Yeah, I
know.
was like, wait a minute.
Right.
And we're sure that much of a gap is acceptable. It's not gonna get nasty
What the
enough again
vendor
that
said,
they-
I actually printed it out and brought it just in case, is the vendor will do it. They know they're gonna have spot areas where it's been affected by a football team crossing it. If we had a crossing matter, we can come up with something.
Can
We'll
they
see what we
provide a
can,
crossing here?
they're not gonna provide a crossing mat. If they can, I'll ask them if he can. You
Do we
know,
have plywood?
we'll come up with something safer than plywood if we do. I'd actually rather use a rug, some type of indoor, outdoor
And
rug. It's,
it doesn't make sense to do the pressure washing closer to the.
he has the time now.
He
Right,
doesn't have
and
time
it's,
now.
and he doesn't because he's booked out on another project. That's also why even if we could have pushed off, if homecoming wasn't an issue,
Yeah.
it still wouldn't work because it won't fit his schedule.
Uh-huh.
So
And
we
if
were so
push
late
off
in the
spring,
year.
Then we're gonna hit track, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
now is the time.
Right.
And then we'll have a nice new resurfaced track.
Yep. So
Nice.
when Mr. Becker and the rest of his kids do track in the spring, it'll be all new. So that's where we stand on
Nice.
that one.
And this gets rid of like those dips and stuff too, right?
No.
Dips are still gonna
No,
be there.
still dips?
That was the $500,000
Yeah.
completely redo,
Right.
which we don't have those funds for.
Right.
This is the resurfacing aspect
Mhm.
of it that will get us at least a few more years out of the rest of the track.
Yeah, it's supposedly a 5 year is the typical lifespan that
Yeah.
they expect out of resurfacing.
Okay.
And it's been 15 years since the last resurface.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a little more than our 5 years worth of money out of that.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at it, I don't know if any of you have walked the track, there's a couple spots where there's cracks. They're going to attempt to fill the crack with the rubberized material that's made
Uh-huh.
for it. Then they'll put new running lanes down on it. They'll paint the new lanes. That's part of it as well. So it'll be a little bit brighter and, we shouldn't have any officials, which we don't have any complaining now, but we shouldn't have any officials complaining that they can't tell where their lane is. So that's where that stands. So where you want to go?
So the ongoing projects, we have the Promethean boards
Yeah.
are coming in October.
Yeah.
And then we're working out
That is a huge
Yeah,
project.
so it's a plan that's coming down, so those are coming in. Staff are getting trained, we just talked about PD training for the Prometheans, but those are all coming in through October and then hopefully done by December, correct?
Yeah, it's supposed to be even before that. So October
I
10th.
think it was a week
Yeah,
that
it's
they were going to do it over.
6 to 7 business
Yeah,
days is what
that's-
they're looking at. That's their plan.
Oh, that's okay.
So that's their plan, and it's 92. No, not 92, right? 92. Plus, we're going to be removing some of the Mimeo TVs or in focus and reusing those in other rooms. So that's not part of the initial because my crew is going to be flat out involved in this with just prepping. There's certain issues with, especially in the elementary school, where you're in a building that's historical. We don't want to cut up the existing chalk trays, so we have to be creative how we mount over the chalkboard. And then we also have bookcases down there that need to be modified that are sitting next to the floor. So if the bookcase is next to the floor, one, it's an issue mounting over top of the existing board because it would actually, they touch. The bookcase touches the chalkboard that's there. The other part of it, it kind of defeats the idea of a Promethean board because it's no longer interactive. If I'm a, 10-year-old and lower that has little short arms, I can't reach it because of a bookcase. So we have to remove those and try and make it neat and look okay and still be safe for the kids. So,
Prometheans are coming in. Security films for the vestibules.
yep, security films, had the final quote the other day, sent the information to Jim. I have to transfer some funds around to pay for that.
And that also takes care of the third floor.
The third floor, so it'll put solar film on the third floor in the elementary school in the rooms that don't have air conditioning. So in any room that didn't have AC, I went to any one of them, whether they were west, east, didn't matter, and they're all getting security film. The security film is not glued to the frame like it is for security reasons on a door where it's accessible as a threat.
Right.
But it's still security film, so in the event that the window was shot out, got hit by hail, it'll stay in one solid piece and fall. Whereas here, the security film not only does that, but it also stops the threat from being able to just walk in. So you can't just throw a rock, have it fall, and walk in. These are literally glued to the window frames.
Yeah.
So those rooms get pretty hot. So
This
is a way to hopefully help those rooms kind of come down a little bit more before we do any other work. But it's a Band-Aid, but hopefully it works more than we normally.
The other part of that spoke with Frank and per the vendor's recommendation, if it's a tinted window, it's going to stay with clear film. If it's a non-tinted window on any of our doorways, it's going to go to a tinted film. The more of this that we tint, the more it creates almost a one-way mirror effect. So it's harder to see occupants inside with the film on the window. So if you do have the worst case scenario, people aren't standing there in view of, the guy, right? So that's the other part of this that we're going to do. Yes, it'll make it a little bit darker in some of the vestibules, but it's worth the exchange for what you get out of it.
And then our halo sensors are coming in shortly. We have 2 that are getting installed.
We have 2 here. They're not getting installed yet because the technology and
Yeah, we install the switches.
No, they didn't install
Do
the
we have
switches.
switches?
They have one old switch that was a new old stock found in the basement. That has not been installed yet.
Okay.
So, and with that, I've measured the boxes. They're actually kind of good size. They're actually bigger than I thought. The footprint of the 2 that we have is about the size of that speaker on the ceiling.
Oh, for the device, the sensors.
The device itself.
The cabling has been put in.
The cabling's been run. That's all done. And what I plan on doing is putting them in surface mount boxes on the hard ceiling rather than cut the ceiling up and then having to deal with a hole. So same thing for suspended.
When they get, prior to them going out, prior to us piloting the 2 that we're trying getting, principals are going to be sending information out to the community as well, specifically what the halo is and everything else, and to the students, so everyone is well aware. So hopefully we don't have to worry about using them that much either.
Because the awareness should be a deterrent in this.
Right. We would hope. Yes, that's the goal. I have one for measurements and fitting and testing, and Leon has one. He's going to try doing a demo with it before we even have everything ready to go. So we'll try and work out the bugs in house. They are 2 different models. What we originally bought, they stopped making. There's a newer model of it. So hopefully the software and the OS that you download, is all the same.
And then vestibules,
The one there.
yep, we still haven't gotten approval yet. So we're waiting on final approval, and we followed back up, and I got a backlog, and so we're still waiting, but that one's ready to go using the last of phase 3 money, some of the phase 3 money. And where are we with this one, Jim?
We're going to provide the SSBA at the Smart Schools Bond Act application to the board at the next meeting to review. Then it's going to be posted for 30 days, and then we can file that and start the process. We've already got the letter of intent in, so we have a project number for it. It's just a matter of going down those two tracks of Smart Schools and the facilities. So,
In that one, can we decide, can we do during the,
They haven't given me an answer yet.
so we don't know yet if we can do it.
We think that last
we
time I
think we
talked to
can.
the architects, they're thinking we can. They're thinking we can figure out a way to make this work. So that
Which
one
would
might
be
be able to
super
get done sooner than this one. This one is going to be a summer.
Yeah,
Because you have to.
yeah,
do so
there's no
much
way.
reconfiguring.
Yeah, we gotta bump stuff out.
Because the wall will actually, where Mrs. Champion currently is now, that's where the wall will be.
I mean, assuming they are able to do that one, that they make that determination.
Yeah.
That would be like a before the end of the year,
Hopefully,
sort of, like before the end of the, like, calendar year,
that's,
sort of thing.
that's the hope.
Yeah, okay.
But we don't even have an approval.
No, I know, it's
So
in
we
a,
haven't
it's in a
even
black
got- I
box
mean, we're in
right now,
September, we don't have an approval. I mean, this has been already
Yeah.
how many months now?
because that's what happens.
4 or 5,
Well, so
yeah.
I'm guessing another month or two. Then we need to go out for bid. So,
Mhm.
and then we have to, so even then, I'm looking at a May, June, just to award the bid, right, Jim, at this point?
And I mean, I'm sure we're going to get to it, but the $100,000 project we need to put in
Yeah.
as soon as
And
possible.
do we have a clarification of scope?
Not full scope. No, we have ideas on what pieces would go in, but no full scope yet.
So the $100,000 project again is, we started this last year.
Mhm.
And the goal is you do a $100,000 capital outlay project each year because it's 8 of them, right? So you front the $100,000 the first
Mhm.
year, it's not a $100,000 project the next year, it's like a $45,000.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you can make major infrastructure changes and upkeep to your buildings with a much cheaper footprint than you would otherwise. So that's why we have to get it in, and we're looking at BCS stuff that, is for the middle school, high school. The problem is that we've done a lot of work already, and there's not a lot you can do with $100,000 anymore. There really isn't. I know there's legislation and push out there to have that $100,000
Is there to have it
up.
adapt or?
Yeah, because you can't do a lot with $100,000 in a school. At a home, absolutely. In
Yeah.
school, not so much. So I mean, it's like very technical things. It's like the doors. We're looking at the 6 security doors for the pack. Those big giant doors that are open. We're looking at restructuring those. We're looking at a couple.
Well, that's
Yes.
already in place.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing that,
What
so
are we
that's
looking
not going to be
for
part
at
of
the
it.
capital outlay?
The roof access.
Yep. So
There's certain.
Oh,
roof
the
access.
pack.
Yeah.
the pack, the gym, so we cannot safely access the roofs on either of those.
Huh.
There was a hatch put in the pack when it was installed, and there's a catwalk, and they don't meet.
Yeah, the catwalk's up here.
So there's a hatch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let me explain,
Yeah.
ready? Catwalk is here, hatch and ladder is here. You could jump to get onto it, but otherwise there's no way for you to.
Is
actually
that, I mean,
use it.
do they use the cherry picker to?
No,
Oh,
you can't even access it.
that's
The only
not
way
that,
you can
yeah.
access those two roofs is actually, you have to bring an extension ladder up on the roof, which is a 3-person job, set the extension ladder up against the roof. And from what
Then
I've been
climb
told,
up
it's
it.
already fallen over once when the 2 guys went on the roof and started
Oh.
calling on
Oh.
the phone because they were then trapped up there.
No.
When you set that on the roof, what are you doing to the roof membrane? Right at this point, you're going to do more damage as well. So it's a longevity thing, it's a safety thing, you know what I mean? And then the other one is the gym and the pool. It's the same elevation, it's the same issue.
So is
these
the,
aren't amazing, like, these aren't like, ooh, giant infrastructure.
No, but that's
they're
like-
fixing
should happen.
issues.
And it's PM issues. I mean,
Yeah.
there's stuff that we're not doing up there. We're not cleaning roof drains because we're only going up there in the event of an emergency.
is the solution just extend that catwalk?
Whatever. We haven't
Yeah,
had
we don't even know.
haven't brought the vendor in to even look at it. Once we figure out which direction we're going, then we'll bring the vendor.
We should have a direction by the end of this month.
Yes.
That's one of the key
Those are
ones.
the ongoing projects, I'm pretty sure of. Ventilation and HEPA units, I'll just go over very quickly. They're all in. So now it's just clarifying exactly how to use them, because some people aren't sure that they should be turned off every night or not. They are running 24 hours.
Oh, they are.
Yes.
They really should be going all the time. They're low voltage, so you're not really
Yeah.
pulling it back.
2
into
amps
it.
max when they're
Yeah,
running.
so
They seem quiet too.
they're very
Yeah.
When
quiet.
they're on low, they're very quiet.
Are we looking at positioning of those? I noticed during the, did you notice
Yeah.
what I noticed? Yeah.
I
The
saw
board-
two of
The
them.
board meeting, there were like two like right next to each other instead of maybe one on one side of the room or.
But
Where
there's a
in
third
the-
one on
And
the
one-
other side
Was
as
there?
well. Yep.
One was turned off.
And
Well, was it?
LGI, one was turned off. That's
Yeah.
a classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
Because
that's,
it's a-
I just
that's-
noticed it was I'm like,
that's where I'm getting at is,
Okay.
we have them, now we
Yeah,
have to
figure
make
out.
sure that we're
Yeah,
utilizing them correctly.
Right from the vendor, I mean, your Austin Airport cars designed to run 24/7. It should not be switched off.
Yeah, so we have teachers that have
You
not,
just need to.
either have not plugged them in, or they're not in rooms, and so we're just making sure that, now we get them up and running, because eventually what I want to do is I want to have a cross comparison of, how many like actual viruses do we have? Because it's not
Yeah.
just COVID, but are we seeing?
like, are we seeing absences decrease?
Right, that's, that's what, we're wanting
Yeah,
to track
that
it,
would be
because,
cool.
I mean, if we have these in each of our rooms, is that actually impacting any other health factors, so.
Yeah.
Should be up.
Even that stuff
Yeah.
aside, it makes such, I mean, I have those things in almost every room in my house.
Same.
And I have for several years and it's, just allergies, no more.
I'm not that fortunate. but-
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, it's a,
Any question on
Jen has
ventilation
my
though,
heart
any
found
HEPA
in it.
units, or that was just a quick update?
I got a nice email from a parent saying this is because of those, now their son cannot have to wear a mask at
Oh.
school. So
Oh.
they're very grateful.
That's
You
good.
might get a letter.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So Bill, do you want to give us an update of facilities and grounds, like athletic fields?
Sure. So we've done some of the fields for aerating and for fertilizing. We haven't been able to hit everything because they've either been occupied or the weather has changed again as usual. The infield mix, there is still some left. Don't want to use the term I want to use. It's going to be taken care of by homecoming. Trying to get my guys to do everything opening school, the typical start of the fall athletics, and to have them doing that at the same time has turned into a little bit of a mess. So with new people coming on board and a little bit more time that can be focused to the grounds, that's going to happen. That's my goal. The playground's finished as far as the stage project goes. Going back and forth, working with Mr. Jeff Lenzio on what we're going to do with the 4 posts that are sticking up. He was looking at something with the 5th grade art class. That was what the proposal was, I believe, from the playground committee. But in the meantime, I'm just going to cap them with something so they look a little more finished.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're gonna do with that. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much.
Has there been any concerns that you've heard or rumblings regarding the athletic facilities or grounds or fields or anything like that?
I don't think so. Just it hasn't been normal years in a while, but in normal times like fall and then again in the spring, we would do a quick check-in on, fall school starting and athletics are starting again. How's everything looking? We in good shape? And same thing in the spring.
You would hear,
We go back
if there
out.
were concerns.
Oh, I'm
though,
sure.
You
I
would hear them more than we
yeah.
would.
Yeah. I mean, for my guys, they're actually, saying this hasn't been done in several years as far as aerating and fertilizing and even using the sprinkler system. So the sprinkler system, being able to expand on that down the road, that would be a great thing because I can only hit about half of what I have up here for, right? I can get the football field, I can get the soccer field. There's some overage that runs over to the girls softball field, but there's nothing on the baseball field here.
I didn't know
So
we
the
had
baseball field is
didn't know
neglected.
that
There's
We have
there's
them, we just don't use them.
Is that sort of
No.
thing?
It's like you roll it out or they're,
No, the rollout one is not capable of running here due to the water and the service that we have here.
The
So
sprinkler itself.
the sprinklers are not on the baseball field at all.
No, but
Yeah.
I think we have them in other places,
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
them for
they're in-
football
right.
and we have them for soccer.
but they don't use them typically. Right?
No, I made them use them this year.
That's
We're
it.
using them now.
Yeah, because
If you have it.
we have people
yeah.
had no idea that you had.
Oh
them,
no,
so.
they're being used now.
How easy is it to expand that kind of thing given our setup? Is it you can like branch off of the stuff that's
You can
there?
branch
or
off,
it's-
you have to hit the main and go from the main. And the problem with taking care of softball would be no problem at all.
Mhm.
Going to baseball, it's a twofold issue. One, the drainage on baseball is already a problem, right? That's why we have, $30,000 of infield mix was to bring that up and try and get the water to run off of the surface that's there. So there's no drainage that wasn't purposely built to be a baseball field, like across the street
Right.
or like the softball field here. The softball field drains out an hour after a thunderstorm. It's ready to play. That's not. So that's twofold. If you go and invest in the infrastructure, put sprinklers in, but didn't do the drainage,
Yeah.
it's a big hit to take at once, but that's also the secondary baseball field across the street. That was built to do that. That has drainage in it. but it doesn't have a sprinkler system, but yet the dry hydrants that go around, we have a big sprinkler on a wheel. You've seen it over there, the big wagon wheel looking thing. And that'll actually, irrigate that. The softball field, across the street, satellite. So down the road, if we can afford to upgrade those two, that would be terrific.
Yeah.
I feel like we're definitely in a better place than we have been in a while. Underground.
Sounds like it.
Moving
Thank
forward.
you, Ben.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, lights, Rob, you want to discuss athletic field lights?
Oh yeah, that can. We've discussed it a couple times. RG had brought it up to me, just saying, can we have a conversation about it again? I think 3-4 times since I've been here, we've talked about it, and the conversation generally ends at, well, we'd love to do it. We've tried to do it, but I think we have some neighbors who don't want us to do it. I don't know if that's the full extent of it.
Yeah. So I think you would have to I'd have to have a scope of where you want lights, and equity-wise, how are you choosing?
Yeah,
Who gets
who
lights
gets
and
the
who
lights?
doesn't, right? Because are you doing lights only for soccer? Well, then baseball and softball don't get lights. Are you doing it only for football? Well, then football and lacrosse get lights, but soccer, softball, and baseball don't. To do lights on the soccer field alone, you're looking at about $300,000, and that doesn't include finding out where the power comes from. That's easy. If the power comes out, you're looking at about $300,000. Adding lights to other places, you're doing a little bit more. Because again, each place will cost more, but they're big ticket items. So I can always look into doing lights, and I can go down that process, and we can look at, getting donations from the community if that's something that's there, or seeing typical vendors. But I think the outcome's got to be, what is the end goal?
Donations aside, that would have to fall into a capital project, and that's not like a $100,000 project. It's not.
No. So it's a $300,000 project for at least one set of lights.
Yeah.
And you'd have to do at least $10,000 in the building, correct, Jim?
Correct.
In order for us to get aid off of it.
If we can get any
if we can get
aid at all.
Well, you'd have to do $10,000 in the building for a
Correct.
capital project. Easy enough, right? That's not.
Mhm.
But I think in the end, it's what is the end goal? So the end goal for facilities, I think, is a bigger conversation. What do we want to look like 10 years from now when we look at our athletic facilities? Do we want a stadium over here, at our satellite field with lights and everything else, with a multi-use field, a multi-use softball or baseball field? Would you want to put the money in there? Would you want to just continue what we're doing? Would you want to do turf? Would you not want to do I think that's the bigger conversation, is what does the vision of athletic facilities look like? Because just doing one-off on lights,
Yeah,
I
that's a
don't
good
think
point.
it's everything.
And we've had bits and pieces of that broader conversation, I think, maybe over the past 12 months, or certainly even longer. But maybe in a future one of these, or as a one-off, it makes sense to dive deeper into that broader vision. Some of the stuff that we've talked about in years past, I can't remember if Trish, you were here when we did or not, like multi-use field, right? Like the football field, right? Some people do soccer, lacrosse, and then that way, you have one set of lights, you can put whatever, you don't have to do. But we have issues with if you played soccer on it, then you couldn't also play football on it because it's too much wear on the field with the way, and I think the size of ours right now as well.
Size is
Something
an
else,
issue
but-
for both.
For
Yes.
soccer,
But where on
lacrosse.
For lacrosse.
Yeah, that too.
what we were told at the time with some of the turf folks that had come in was that the wear on that field, if you tried doing, because soccer is the same season as football, it might be too much to have the games on. But again, this is 3-4 years ago. I don't know. And that's where you get into conversation about turf being a thing that then doesn't have that same sort of maintenance and wear associated with it, where you can play games every day on the turf and it's not gonna. But can you get to or do you want to get to a multi-use, right? Like a bigger field that will cover more sports, so you can have it be nicer. But I don't know. There have been other conversations then too about like this. It's not the snack shack, because that's the other place, but the concession
Like what
thing
do we
out
do
there, right?
How
And
many
do
more bleachers do we add? Like,
right? Can you do like bleachers and a press box
You
and
can,
right?
and we absolutely.
Well, you can do anything with money.
That's what I'm saying. So we could do that, but then the question is just going to be, if we're adding bleachers and new press box and doing all that stuff, that means are we keeping the footprint of what we currently have at the track, right? Or are we in 5 years completely ripping up the track and expanding the footprint of what that is, right?
Mhm.
Because we know in 5 years, that track's gotta be redone.
Yeah.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. So do we keep that footprint, do we not? So I think it's a really big conversation. Adding lights is great, but adding lights for the team that wants it currently, or the people who want it the most, that's great, but it doesn't, when we look at equity, is it equitable,
Mhm.
right? So I don't have a good answer, I don't know if you do.
No, but it's a good conversation to have over time, and I think it's, you know,
I think you could use community input.
Mhm.
This could be a larger conversation of what do you want your athletic facilities to be?
what,
Because
With what funding? though?
especially,
well, that's
That's
the
what I don't
problem. I
understand.
mean,
Yeah.
I will personally tell you this is, I'm all for spending money on athletic fields and our fields and stuff and everything else, but at what cost is that now taking away from something else?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? If we're spending $500,000 or $1 million on track and field and all this other stuff, that's great, but what are we not upkeeping here?
Yeah.
What are we missing out when it comes to the instructional space
Mhm.
or everything else? So, what you're saying, it's where do you find that balance, right?
Yeah.
What fund?
yeah, I think we're going to be, well, we know we're going to be backed in a corner the next 5 years with the truck. Like, we have to do something.
The track is gonna have to get.
Right. Well, whether we build it, redo the track, do a new track, do something else, bulldoze the track in,
Right.
There's some decision has to be made about the future of that set of athletic facilities sometime in the next, what would our time horizon be, like 12 to 24 months? Because it would have to be, even if you just resurface that track, that's capital project material, right? So that's like, put together a plan, go out for a vote, and then
Well,
1 to 2 years after.
My goal is a capital project every time. Jim, do you agree, or
That is
as long as our debt
Correct.
services?
That's a very good timescale, especially when you have 2 separate campuses.
Yeah.
You can go back and forth and do major things every 10 years at each place. So, yes.
So that's kind of where I'm looking at, is if we can level off our debt services. Now, we're going to be looking at a bigger project, so I'm imagining the next 5 year would probably be at 6 to 7 million, right, Jim?
Depends what we include. Could be somewhere near 10 to 12
Yeah.
and still fit within the debt service.
So that's where we just have to, but if we do every 5 years with large scale projects, middle school campus, high school campus, and then elementary, you then can do infrastructure. So you might not be able to get what you want athletic wise all at once, but you could scope that out over a period of 10 years.
Sure. Does that sort of an additional 5 years fit in with so we got 5 years on the track, but 5 years for a capital project really means like 7.
So,
Right.
So right now, the way I'm looking at it is we're in year 1 or 2 of the development phase. We're doing this one. As soon as this one gets going, I'm going to start working on
So,
the next one.
so we can start appropriate to start having those conversations within the next 12 months.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
As soon as, if the next project gets approved and out, and as soon as we start working on that one, the conversations for the next project should start already. So then when we finish this one, in that year or the year after, we should already be out for going.
Yeah.
That's really how it should be working.
It'd be even better if you can line up the end of that project with a vote, and then
I know
you
it sounds
keep
like
things rolling.
Jim and I are going to be losing our minds,
No.
but to do it effectively and correctly, that really is the calendar that we should be following. Lots of conversations.
Yeah.
Good on that?
Yeah.
Right. Elementary capital project. Questions?
I feel like this is one that we've talked, unless you haven't been here for as much of it. So if you
Yeah.
have questions, but we've talked about
Yeah.
this so much now over the
Yeah.
past 6
It would
months,
only
where it's
be-
like,
Has anything
if
changed?
anything's going to change between now and then,
Well,
it shouldn't.
Anything
So-
on
Have you
EPC?
learned
That's my
anything
question.
new that
So-
will change our plan?
No, I think
or
we're-
any cost change?
You heard it last night about the EPC. Danforth is going to come in on the 27th to talk to us. We can create the resolution so if the EPC goes up, we're still in a good place, because again, that's not going to impact, correct, Jim?
Well, it will have an up to number rather than an exact number. The capital project will have an exact number.
But it doesn't impact our tax base.
No,
The EPC doesn't impact our tax base, right?
correct.
So I mean, if it goes to 1.5, great, then we just get more for our money,
And
Oh, go ahead.
no, sorry. Yeah.
I was just curious, not that this would ever happen to us, but what if one gets voted for and one doesn't?
I don't know that answer, and it makes me a little nervous.
There.
That's-
Because you obviously can do the EPC without the capital project, but
Correct.
Well, we'd have to put money for the abatement.
Right,
Yeah.
That's
They
the
have
bigger
to go-
issue.
They have to go hand in hand. At this point where we are,
so if one got voted for and one
we'd have to
didn't,
go
we
back to
would
the
say
drawing
no.
board. Yeah, we'd
Okay.
have to.
Well, unless, look, if for some reason,
Capital
The
got
EP
yes, the EPC
and the
got
EPC
no.
got shot down, we can still do the EPC, we just lose 10%.
That's true,
Well,
that's true.
I mean, we may
Did
not be
think about it that way,
nice
but you're correct.
people acting in a representative fashion where our community votes it down and we decide to do it anyway. But
Right.
Yeah.
the point is, if we really
That's
wanted to, we can exercise that authority as a board.
You totally go.
We just lose the 10%. The big benefit to the vote is the 10%.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah, that was actually, I never thought of it that way. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Not that we want it to cost 10% more, but
Yeah.
No.
it seems like such an efficient time to do it if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, it may be,
Right,
I feel that this.
And you
project-
don't lose any money,
right.
ever,
Right.
even without
Right.
the 10%. So
Yeah.
you're always going to be a net positive on an EPC.
I mean, hopefully that's a no-brainer for the
Well,
voters
that's
to
what I
approve,
think. The way
because
you
there's
sell it-
no impact on them.
Well, I've only heard
Yeah.
positive rumblings at this point in our
Okay.
community. I have not, I
I
don't
have
know
too.
if you have heard.
I haven't heard much actually.
I have
Yeah.
not even, I know people who are very negative about things, you know, and I have some neighbors that are like, no, and I've heard, hey, this is actually probably something we.
You know,
So I've
after
heard-
that Enterprise
yeah.
article, I got a lot of from people who I don't usually,
Yeah.
like my parents, for example, or, you know, like,
Yeah, people I think are,
that sounds cool. So,
I think
Yeah.
people are seeing the need.
As I say, I feel like anyone that has a child in elementary school or has recently, you know
Yeah.
how bad the need is.
Yeah.
Well, I,
So it'd just be people that don't have that
yeah,
experience.
I'm very happy at how the project is shaping up.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely, I feel like we've done a really good job of being fiscally sound,
Mhm.
not being too showy and fancy on what we're trying to do. And I think it means a lot of needs. So I just want to make sure that we're all, because we're getting to the point now where it's the point of no return, right? Like, this is it.
Right. I mean, last time we met, the only big unknown still was the earthwork, but last night he said
Yeah.
at this point they think it's the same.
What would you rather have, by the way? Would you like the wall or would you like the concrete thing? I was,
what's the concrete thing?
Yeah.
Well, it's
Guess I'd like to
basically
see
panels.
pictures.
yeah, I'm not a huge
Panels.
fan of that.
Well, it depends on the difference in cost
Yeah.
too, I guess.
We're gonna have to look at it for the next 100 years, so.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
yeah. I'm
And
not
we're
saying
not
you
getting
can't.
elemental landscape stonework for it.
Well, if Jerry will donate it, let's find out,
See,
right?
Maybe he wants to donate an enormous amount
I
of
will
his
not throw in
time
this video.
to,
So, all right. So,
a little bit bigger than the sign out front, I guess.
I just want to talk about the status solutions really quick. It's something that come up that Bill and I met with them. It's from Safe Schools and it's from Michelle Gay, who was a mother who lost a child in Columbine. She's working with this group called Safety Solutions. They actually work in nursing homes, things like that, where they do all this different safety solution stuff. They have a grant that supposedly will allow schools, they'll give them the software where they can do notifications. And that notification is, like, let's say it's a teacher in a classroom, they can hit a button and say, I have a medical emergency. That medical emergency then can go to a cell phone, text message, and email to be able to call the people in who needs to be there. So it would basically streamline that process. I'm not 100% sold on what this looks like yet, but I'm very interested in it since it's from the grant. The thing is that there's always one-offs that come on top of this, right? Like, well, if you want to expand it later on, say you want to put in your refrigeration unit and you want to have that as part of you have to pay money to get that in, like to do the units, to do the IP stuff, to have that be a part of this solution. Or if we want to do our water gauges that are in our boiler room, we want to tie that in to the computer system for notification. So it would then email, call, text, if that comes out. That would cost more money. But there is a grant out there that we could get just the notification software for teachers in the school that would just notify what it looks like, how it works. And, hey, there is a fight in the room, boom, and it calls 4 people to the room.
But it's just generic notification stuff. Like it can be
No,
used
no,
for.
you can designate it down to who you want for your response team.
Yeah.
So if
No,
you
that's
had-
what I mean. I mean, it's very configurable.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it can be used for lots of things.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm looking into it. Bill and I just want to jump aside. But Bill,
Friday again, right? Friday afternoon.
yeah,
I think
we're
another
looking
one.
at it a little bit more to have a little more understanding of it here. But it seems interesting. It would fill a need that we currently don't have. You know, because you have to get on the phone or you have to call for someone. This might be the system where it's just click a button and automatically gets to somebody quickly.
Huh.
if
And
you
does it
use
go
the phone-
to people's phones? Does it go to,
Yes.
Yeah. Whatever you'd like to
will
do.
we, I don't know if there's teachers that don't have phone, but I mean, will we have school provided devices that would?
For certain people, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we asked if it would integrate into our existing phone system. If it was not VoIP, which we know we don't have everything VoIP,
Yeah.
and it does integrate.
So I'm
And this could
interested
be
to
for
learn.
emergency and non-emergency?
Yes.
Or,
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's say I have a student who's going into shock in the classroom, like a nurse. Like, this might be able to be one of those things where it's super quick. They hit that instead of running down here, running down there, and trying to get a hold of a whole bunch of people.
Doing the,
Because
the
not
other
everybody has a
option-
radio either.
well,
Yeah,
wasn't
and
there
everybody
something we
hears.
got from the sheriffs a couple of years ago that was supposed to do, not exactly this,
It's
but
those that makes us compliant for Alyssa's law, right?
what, the Motorola's?
Yeah, the orange
Orange
button.
No, I thought it was supposed to be integrated with 911 and then integrated with, it was supposed to be in, I thought, all the classrooms, like in elementary school or something. I don't
I
remember.
thought there
This
was something with the buses.
Yeah, the buses.
No, there was that. There was the stuff on the buses.
We have Motorola radios that are integrated in, and we have push button stations. So across in centralized places, you push that.
But it's not in all,
automatically
it's not in all
calls
the classrooms and not in all the,
And that would be the
Great.
only thing I think we should spend extra on, would be to tie that to
into this.
so it does the same. If that's activated, we
That
also
sounds
get
cool.
Or eventually down the road, say you want to do a push button for each
pendants,
teacher,
Mhm.
right? For emergencies or things. So it's a thing. Again, they want to sell, right? It's a sell. But I'm interested in looking to see if the software is something that we could utilize.
But it sounds like it's the kind of thing that could grow dynamically over.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, you
Right?
said it.
That's
the
what he
growth
said,
potential,
yeah.
That's why I
Use it
paid,
for-
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm pretty apprehensive when it comes to these things.
Yeah, it's a sales pitch. We know there's more.
Yeah. So I just want to dig in a little bit more on it.
Do you have anything like that?
No, and it is sometimes an issue because
Yeah.
even if I know like the direct line to the nurse's office or something,
It is.
what if she's busy?
Right.
And then it's
Huh.
like, I guess I'll try another number. So, I mean, it really,
Yeah, I've seen
it would be quite nice, yes.
and especially in districts where you may have more issues, like
Yeah.
more things pop up. I mean, we don't have a ton,
Right,
but when you
right.
do have them, it's still like the safety of knowing that you can address it quickly.
Yeah.
Or let's say, you
While
know,
you're managing the situation.
Right.
On top of that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to pick up the phone 3 times
Right.
and each administrator happens to be one's in the cafeteria, already looking
Right.
at something else that's going,
but
it's,
while you have a student who's fainting, or while
Yeah.
you're trying to break up an altercation, or
Mhm.
something else is going on.
yeah.
That's why I said to Bill, like, there is some real positive things that
Yeah.
can come out of this. So
And I started looking at all the other paths we were talking, and it's like, okay, so it's not just utilizing your existing phone that you personally have that's a school device,
Yeah.
or not a school device, but it's enabled with that. It's your school device. You could also do it with, again, our desktop phones that we have now and have quick keys, right? So *5 is, whatever, medical. *3 is, whatever you wanted to do, you could set these up with quick keys on it.
it definitely interesting. So I just want
Yeah.
to bring it up here.
I wonder if there's other systems out there that you do have to pay for, but you don't have to pay
There are.
extra.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it'd be interesting to do a full cost comparison, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, if the cost comparison is free to start,
No,
you know what I
but
mean?
if
And it's
you
the
wanna
add-ons.
Start
Yeah.
adding on.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
like Kamali does it, day automation does some of these things too. But day automation, we did start looking into some of it, and it's extremely
Oh, okay.
expensive.
Yes.
Like, but they're not giving us the software for the classroom. They're charging us for the door hardware, they're charging us for the
Mhm.
IPs, they're charging us for all the other things that we have to do. That's where,
Where the other part of that is, you're a tech guy, so integrating everything into one pot.
Yeah.
And that pot fails. No. So if we can put some of these other things like the remote monitoring for the freezer on our alarm system, but this is an add-on to it where it'll also send the signal.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the alarm goes down, we still have some other monitoring, we still have some other systems in place. So,
But it sounds like the kind of thing, sort of like our secure vestibule over here, or the building at the elementary school, that could potentially be a very visible or noticeable improvement we would make for parents, for whoever.
for teachers, this is huge. Robin knows because she's in it,
It
and I,
is huge.
it's huge. Like, I don't want to promise my staff anything, but like, if you can have streamlined communication when you're having an emergency in your classroom, like I've been in education 24 years. It's been a problem for 24 years in every
Mhm.
building I've ever been in. Like,
Mhm.
so I mean, even if you can fix it a little bit, I think
Yeah.
it's a lot better. So,
Sure,
Yeah.
nice.
pleasantly optimistic on this one.
Yeah, that's really cool.
All right. So, Kiwanis proposal. So I wanted to share the proposal that Kevin Holtailing sent to everybody. Does everybody remember? I can pull it up.
Yeah.
So
What does it say?
I do. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
read it.
I put it on part of the agenda.
Okay, so I've seen this. I'm familiar with the Quantus.
All right. So let's walk through the request, shall we?
Sure.
Oh my God, seriously? Okay. There we go. So first thing, they want to look at doing a little free library. There's a free library near the snack shack or garden area. You'd be like, take a book, give a book type thing. How do you they could see if the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts want to have to do it as a project together with them. They could involve the library. Thoughts?
There's one at the town park.
Is it really?
Right, yes. Jim Nichols.
I don't know enough to know.
I
Last
don't
I
have
was
nothing
there,
in there.
there was.
On Swift Road?
No.
No, the village down.
And Nichols Park?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm just wondering like how that one is doing.
Right. I have no idea.
if there's,
Is it so people have something like if they want to read during soccer practice?
I didn't ask them many questions on this one.
yeah, I think they're usually like, you take a book home and read it and then.
Yeah.
Or take a
Right,
leave
or
a
you
book
bring a
like
book
that.
and leave it for
Yeah.
someone.
I'm just wondering.
It sounds cool. I don't know about the placement over there though. It seems, unless you're at a Kiwanis game, like
Right.
who's walking by? You know?
Winter,
Yeah, especially who's walking by in the winter.
we don't
Like
plow that area.
if you were gonna put
Yeah.
one somewhere like
Well, and
near
I,
the bike racks, maybe would be a better.
but I'm
I
also
just-
like, we also have the library connection. We
Mhm.
have the school library that we're trying to,
Mhm.
get new things in there. Like, I think this is a very nice idea. I don't know, like
The practicality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then if it adds to things that don't look good because they're not maintained.
Or it might work for softball and soccer, and then
yeah.
right. But maintaining is an issue, right?
Yeah. Hard.
So I'll ask more questions, but this one seems a little like maybe not at the time.
Yeah.
The sports mural on the snack shack.
Scroll down. Is there more to that? Or no?
Yep, here it is. So they want a mural or an idea of dressing up the snack shack. And so they thought about putting soccer players and stuff, but they want the art club to design it and do it. And then for upkeep, it could be the art club again touching it up when need be. So it would be the school's responsibility.
And is our club interested or not to that?
They have volunteered the art club without any conversation as far as.
Okay.
Yeah. Painting the mural on it sounds cool, but like in having it, like if they're gonna show up with paint to do that.
Right.
But yeah,
Who's gonna do it?
right.
Yeah.
Saying it's the art club.
I can ask the art club, but again, I think I have to ask the board, do you want murals on our property, right? Like right now, it's a brown snack shack in the middle of the field. Do you want to put attention to it? Do you not want to put attention to it? I think that's one question. And then the other question that came out of it is, who owns the snack shack?
Yeah.
Who actually owns it? What is the responsibility of upkeep on that? Because that was a question that, we couldn't figure out. We did some digging, and so I know I can't.
You own it personally?
No,
So-
so, well,
They
we
do.
own it because it's on our property, right?
And all
So
the
in the end,
cookies.
it's district property, right? Even though people can say it's Kiwanis property, in the end, it's on our property. It's ours, right? And we are responsible for it. But we don't have an agreement of upkeep, right? So we don't know. Same with the plate, like with
Happen to the garden.
the garden. Like there's no agreement of upkeep. Like what's the district responsibility, what's not? I think we might need to, and Rob and I had a conversation while we were doing the agenda, is we may need to come to an agreement in facilities. We maybe need to start listing out an agreement with like the things like this. Like when the garden's there, what's an agreement? What's the school
Yeah.
going to be responsible for? What is this outside organization who's going to help do it? It's already been donated. We own it,
Right.
right? It's not. The snack shack's not been donated. The snack shack has actually built by, from what we can tell, by Mr. Halayden back in the day when he was off, not working. So he was a teacher here. So when Jim wasn't working, he built the snack shack. And then they ran water to it, like kind of
They did an addition more recently though.
to the snack shack.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, like 5 years ago.
I don't, so we can, so the problem
Yeah.
is Jim and I did a deep dive in, we couldn't find any donations, any approvals through the district. Personally, I won't let anything happen on property if it doesn't go through an
I
approval
feel
and
like I
donation.
remember an
Do you see
approval
something? But because we
process.
couldn't find it. No.
Because
I don't ever remember talking about it at facilities committee.
I just remember, this is not when I was on the board.
Yeah.
Because you needed approval if it was a structure that people were in.
Yes, yeah, we couldn't find anything from what we were looking.
We were going to consider it a found building.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know
That's
if
the term. for
Yeah.
Where
it,
did this
so-
come from?
Well, that's probably,
Yeah.
Jim and I haven't been here, so
Mhm.
we're trying to dig into some history.
This is
so
just
it's hard.
from me attending
Yeah.
a random meeting. I kind
So
of-
there was something.
I don't know if it was that they did it on their, I mean, you have to have a permit to, I don't
Sure
know.
you, yeah.
Let's
I don't know.
just say it's been done before when a building happens to show up and you go, hey, look, where'd that come from?
There's, I can't imagine there's any net impact though, in terms of if it was not donated or it's
No.
on our property, it's
It's our
right, but
Yeah,
I think
it's our
some of the meat of that though is, look, if we have structures or things, whether they were built by somebody else or not, if an outside community organization is using them and they're the ones primarily benefiting from or using or whatever, maybe we talk about, how that should be maintained or, the upkeep for it over time,
And I
right?
think they do a nice job with it,
Yeah.
but it's not articulated.
No, none of it. There's nothing written down anywhere, and that's kind of like we have facility use agreements for other stuff, but like that, it just feels
Yeah,
like maybe, maybe it's worth adding an explicit. I don't know what to call it, like a facilities upkeep agreement or a log, but like I don't know if the garden and the snack shack are the only two examples I could think of, but we actually had a bunch of these conversations when the playground was donated. Because there was extra money that was set aside for like the first whatever of maintenance.
right.
And we actually had discussions about who was going to be responsible for maintaining what, which was, which was a lot of forethought there.
Right.
Something to
But-
think about. We can talk
Yeah.
about that at the next facilities if you want, we can add it on. But for the mural, what's your thoughts?
About if something is physically present on it, or
I mean, do you want me to go to the art club and ask them? Or do you want me to put this on Kiwanis and say, if you guys want to build a mural, you can design and do it. I get their idea of having the kids do it. I think I see the community development of it. I just,
look, if
They could present a design to see if you like it. I don't know. I see your concern though, like what if it's something
well, the kids. will
some people
develop it.
view it as an eyesore?
Well,
I don't. They have to have these discussions with Art on the Rail Trail too, the same kind
Yeah.
of discussion.
oh really, yeah,
Yeah, where they
Oh.
do the murals on the bridges and stuff, and some people love it, some people get offended, like,
That's-
you ruined it
Yeah.
for me. Yeah,
no, it's true.
it's all in
Murals
the,
can be.
every eye is different, so.
conceptually, I think it's cool, right? And
Yeah.
the thing I'm thinking of is at the Nichols Park, the
Oh,
the wall
lacrosse
thing.
rebounder,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Has a mural
cool.
on it like that, right?
Yeah,
Like that,
cool.
and
Nice.
that the descriptions of it, like the silhouette of players,
Yeah.
like sounds kind of like that. It sounds neat, like, but it like I'm unclear, or maybe not.
So here's what I can do.
If they were coming to us saying, "Hey, we want to paint this on there," like,
Here's our
sounds
idea,
great.
Yeah.
But it's the
And then it's the upkeep.
volunteering art club without.
So I can do
You
this. I can ask Art Club if they're interested in painting a mural that encompasses the spirit of the field. Okay?
Yeah.
If that is something, because personally, they're saying what they want on it. That's not, and they're asking the Art Club, that loses the idea of art, right? Art is what the kids want, right? So, and it's development by the kids. So if the kids want to do something that has soccer, baseball, lacrosse, or the things that are on that field, then by all means, that's something. But why don't I ask the Art Club if they're even interested?
Yeah.
first? And then we can come
Sure.
back and have a
Yeah.
conversation. I'll do that. Because they may be like, no, we're good.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't.
And are they interested in doing it upfront and not maintaining it, or are they in
Right.
it for the long haul? So
Well-
you get yourself in the same exact
Yeah.
problem.
Are we gonna present it to Art Club every single year for
Right.
touch-ups, like?
Right.
Well, that's my problem is if you paint a mural, 2
You
years
gotta
down the
paint
road,
over
it's
it.
gonna,
or-
Yeah.
yeah, because otherwise, right now, it looks nice. And that snack shack took place for how many years it's ever been there. Right?
For
So-
no, it does look good. They've done a good job taking care of it. Do we on the facilities use agreement for the fields for that? Do we have? Does it mention the snack shack at all in terms
I
of
don't
like
think so.
they're supposed to keep it locked or they're supposed to lock it after a certain or
No, that's
you know
they are their understanding. I mean, they do a nice
Yeah.
job of that. But
We've more left out.
Yeah, I mean, we have a good community organization,
No, we
do.
right? I mean, and good community support, but if we didn't, it'd be a whole different story.
Which is kind of what happened to the garden, right?
Yeah,
We
it
lost
just,
the team,
right,
and
and then the
now it's a
garden.
school problem.
So, and then pavilion next to the snack shack, I told him no. You know, again, asking Eagle Scouts to do that and do all that stuff is great, but A, it has to go through facilities planning, and B is we're gonna have a project that's gonna rip that
It's gonna
whole
rip
thing
up
up. So
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a
Right,
long-term
right.
thing. So I already said no to that one.
Yeah.
But he just wanted to put it on there right now. So, okay, that's, I want to talk about that quick. Let's go back to the agenda, because I don't. Oh, there it is.
Calendar.
Yeah, so
custodian.
All right, let's talk about student custodian really quick. So we have a student who we hired as a custodian worker this summer, and he did a great job. He is interested in now working again. Bill has to give me a proposal of what specifically that student would be doing, how many hours they could work, what they could work on vacation, and limitations and restrictions that that student could do during the day. But we are interested in maybe having the student approved by the board to work during the school year. So maybe it'd be like 3:30 to 5:30 type of thing, where they would work. You know, again, it would be, if they're a high school student, they would work in elementary school. There'd be restriction of what they would be able to do. But to give an opportunity. What's your thoughts, initial thoughts on that?
Sounds
Sounds
good.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
I can't immediately
Yeah.
think of any drawbacks.
No.
We need help, someone wants to do
Right.
it.
I wouldn't put him in the high school, you know, just because he's a high school student.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, this gives him an opportunity.
And it's after hours anyway, obviously,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah, it'd be
Well,
after hours.
We're looking at 3 to 6. There's a limited number of hours he can work per week,
Mhm.
and a number of hours he can work during each weekday during school, which is
Oh,
3 hours per day. So I wouldn't even entertain the weekends.
Oh, okay.
You'd have to have supervision.
Yeah.
The only thing
say
I
then that.
suggested
Yeah.
was, we do this with the fire department with junior members.
Mhm.
We actually have a GPA minimum that they have to maintain.
Huh.
That would be something that,
And
I don't know how you do that at the school board.
Well, this is my one concern, is that's why I wanted to push it off to October,
Yeah,
because I want him to be a student first and foremost.
right.
And then we can, if this is
See where we-
approved, then if he wants to do it, October is good, but also give him an ability of flexibility. Like that's, so I want to have a conversation with you,
Yeah,
because I don't want students to ever feel overwhelmed, and I don't,
No.
they're working for us.
we're
I
here
want
for
them to still be
education.
students.
That's, you know,
So we will move forward on that. And last is calendar of meetings. Rob, you want to talk about maybe not doing Tuesdays?
Yeah, I had sent Jess an email, I thought, asking for Wednesdays at 4:30, not Tuesdays at 4:30. Because I have a recurring meeting that's been for a long time, Tuesdays at 4:30, that I moved for today. But does that still work with everyone?
I didn't look. In theory.
Are Wednesdays any different than Tuesdays for you, Robin?
Yes.
Oh, they are.
Yes.
Okay.
I think 1 or 2, I think it's 1 or 2 Wednesdays a month. I would not be able to.
So how about we all
Oh,
look
not
at,
everyone, okay.
Yeah, no,
So
not every Wednesday,
as
yeah.
long as it fell on,
Yeah.
okay.
so can we look at just the meeting schedule itself and then say, you can look at your calendars and say,
So you would.
I mean, I could also
take
drop it to
existing one and
5,
just
I just
move
don't
it
know
a
if there's
day?
appetite for people doing a
Or is
5 to
that-
6 meeting.
Is that the bad Wednesday for you if we move it?
Which one?
Let me see, I can put it. I was just saying, Rob, are you recommending we take the existing Tuesday and just move it to the Wednesday right thereafter? Or
It doesn't
a full
really matter.
different week?
it would be easier.
Really, like, whatever would
So
work
you
with
get a full
Robin, I
different
guess. if-
week, then sometimes you double up on.
Yeah,
committees.
that's kind of, so I would
Yeah.
say, my suggestion would be, since we've tried to really do a good job of doing it,
Yeah.
committees.
But I don't
Are we
know.
away from other committees
I
right
don't
now?
know
Yes,
Robin's
we are.
Wednesdays. And if that works or
So
doesn't.
Tuesday, October 11th is the next meeting.
Let me see.
Could we do Wednesday the 12th?
I was just gonna.
Do you know what or is it kind of oscillate?
Find it right
Committee schedule.
now.
And we can talk about this over email or something.
Yeah, you
too,
could just look at your
async.
calendars and see
Yeah.
if it works, and then we can make a change.
And if not, I can find ways to shift things around as well.
Anything else for the good of the order?
Oh, how's the crossing guard?
So far, so good. Oh, I'm putting this in your,
The safety.
In
is
your
it
news and
helping
notes.
with- Does it feel safer?
I haven't been able to get down there
No,
as much as I would like to, so.
Have you guys?
I've not been picking my kids up this year, so I
Okay.
haven't.
So I haven't been able to really
Okay.
get down and check it out as much as I wanted to. But the town is starting a traffic study. I put it in my news and notes.
Oh, nice.
So the traffic study is actually starting. I told you in my news and notes, I'll have the engineer with the village.
Is that why I keep running over those things by the post office right now?
They are there, but they're actually starting tomorrow. They'll be out in front of our building as well,
Which building?
the elementary school.
Oh.
So there's a traffic study happening there as
Is
well.
it the village doing it?
The village.
Or the-
I said town. And so that's part of the process that we talked about before when we're doing crossing guard. The village is also looking at, is there improvements that can happen to be able to help that whole area. So they
I
have
thought you were
an-
talking about here maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say now if we could get the town to do a
Yeah,
traffic
I
study
know, I
right
wish.
over there.
We know that we still been struggling.
Mhm.
But at least down there, it's something that they're working
I mean, at least the shoulder's bigger now.
on. Yeah. Get a little bit better.
You have to walk on the road.
We're providing transportation over there though, right?
As far as I know, yes. Nothing has changed from our past procedures.
Yeah, I see our buses
Yeah.
over there. I check after hours. I'm the
Nothing
one
has
that goes
changed.
after hours, so I know they're there.
Yeah, we haven't changed any
Yeah.
procedures. Anything else?
I think so.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.